Let's check in with Ashley Ross, the Ashley Ross Show. Ashley, thanks so much for joining us. You can follow her on social media, Ashley Ross33, and on Instagram, Ashley Ross3. Ash, Bucks, Washington football team. Let's start there. It's Tom Brady, the GOAT versus the kid. I know if you've been listening all morning, I apologize. I'm being really obnoxious with that. But it is Chase Young says he wants Tom Brady in his first playoff game outside of New England's. What are you looking forward to most in this game?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Joy. I love the music selection, and Queen Petty is in full effect this morning. But I would say the thing that I'm looking forward most is I always love a good game where it seems like one team is just super overestimated and one team is super underestimated. And I think even if Alex Smith were to play this game, I think most of us are still picking the Bucks. But I like the fact that they're kind of going in as this underdog because I think that this kind of works in their favor. And, yes, they respect Tom Brady, but, they feel like, look, we won 5 out of the last 7 games. We're rolling. Like, why can't we beat the Bucks?
Well, to me, the reason that they're not going to beat the Bucks is, and I have a lot of respect for their defense, starting with Chase Young. I just don't know how they're going to be able to keep up with that Buccaneers offense. And look, we don't know if Mike Evans is going to be out there. He's probably not. But, that's Tom Brady and a lot of really great pieces on the offensive side of the ball. And it's going to be either a limited Alex Smith, even if he's back, because he's coming off of an injury and he wasn't mobile to begin with, or Taylor Heinicke.
Exactly. The thing is, when you look at the weapons go pound for pound, obviously every position on offense, you're pretty much rolling with the Bucs. So I definitely think it's a long shot for Washington. I just like the fact that, Chase Young, he's had a monster season. And I just love the fact that, Washington is not backing down from this challenge. They're not afraid of, Tom Brady, and teams in the past where they might have kind of feared New England, something like that. They're not as scared to go against the Bucs because the Bucs have shown vulnerability. That's kind of my thing with the Bucs. We've seen them get off to slow starts. We've seen them kind of be sluggish at times. I don't think that'll happen today, but if it does, I think it does leave a little room for Washington to kind of play with them a little bit.
That is a good point. I think that I don't want to misquote McIntyre, but he was on with us on the Herd yesterday, and I think he said one of his picks was the under on the first half of the Bucs Washington game.
I think it's going to be close in the first. I definitely think it's going to be close, and then I think Brady is going to go off and slam a helmet and be Brady, and then they're going to come out and score 28 in the second.
So the Rams Seahawks also play today, and I think this is a very even matchup, even with the quarterback situation for the Rams, because as division teams, they play a lot. Sean McVay has not gotten credit as of recent for, the kind of coach that he is. And the Rams still have that Rams defense. So I think this is a very even game. Obviously, Seattle's favored by 3, but this is a winnable game for the Rams. What do you think?
I agree, and I think the thing that I'm really looking into in this game is these teams, obviously, they play in the same division. So when the Rams beat Seattle the first time, Ramsey and DK, that's kind of the matchup everybody's looking at, they had a lot of one-on-ones. I feel like when Seattle beat the Rams, they had a safety kind of come over, so I think it allowed Ramsey to be a little bit more physical with DK. So it'll be interesting to see how, now that they played each other twice, what approach the Rams are going to have. I think this game is going to come down to, we know what DK can do. We know what Lockett can do. I think it's going to require a guy like Moore or one of the Titans. Somebody's got to step up and make the Rams focus on somebody else.
We're talking to Ashley Ross of the Ashley Ross Show. So Lamar Jackson is going to play the Titans. And this is going to be a lot of running in this game. I love Derrick Henry. He's my favorite player in the league right now. I love watching him toss grown men to the side like they're leaves in the wind. But I'm going with the Ravens in this game. But if they don't win, I don't think it's not going to change my opinion of Lamar Jackson. I think there's a lot of unnecessary pressure on Lamar Jackson. And I get it. He's been one and done the last 2 years. But I guess I'm just saying that more out of respect for the Titans.
I agree. And I mean, I think people forget, like, the Titans were in the AFC Championship last year. I mean, I think a lot of people kind of discount it a little bit because they feel like, New England, they were on their downtrodden. Kansas City was emerging. But, I mean, you have to pay them their respect. Like you said, Derrick Henry is throwing grown men out here like schoolyard boys. So I think you definitely have to pay the Titans their respect. And I think because Derrick Henry gets so much attention in the run game, people forget, like, Ryan Tannehill, he's a really good quarterback. Like, he had a good year if you look at his numbers. So I think that this isn't that big of a deal if the Ravens lose because it is such a good matchup. But I do think the Ravens and Lamar, in the back of his head, he knows I can't go into another offseason with this 0-3. Yes, I'm exciting in the regular season. I have an MVP, but can I do it come postseason?
So we were just talking to Alex Curry, who is loving the Browns.
I love the Browns too. So
guys, hello, are we friends? What are you doing? I'm living in anxiety over these Steelers. All right. I mean, why do you love the Browns?
I love the Browns for a number of reasons. I have been very high on the Browns all season. Number one, I love a good, tough running back. And then you give me two of those, oh, I'm sold. Baker Mayfield. Baker's always been my wild factor. I always thought, okay, if the Browns could have a run game where they kind of limit Baker to maybe like 15 to 25 attempts, they'll win. And these last couple of weeks, Baker has really, I think, even though he might not be he's not going to be coaching Sunday, I think Kevin Stefanski, the system, the confidence, this has done worlds. And I think you throw the defense on top of it. I love the Browns.
You love the Browns. Actually, do you know what my life is going to be like if the Browns beat the Steelers in the playoff game?
Well, Joy, you got a little Steeler love. You got a little
yes,
Steeler
exactly.
love.
I'm from Pittsburgh. It's going to be a nightmare. You know how much trash I talk about how much trash I talk on the Browns? Here's why the Browns make me nervous. Because first of all, they're in division, so then they just played. So even with Stefanski out, it's not like this is a completely foreign team to the Browns. Also, the Steelers have been wildly inconsistent despite their 11-game winning streak. Big Ben has had one good half. I do like that they gave him the game off because he needs the rest because he's old. But this just feels like one of those games that could unravel for the Steelers, and the Steelers do not have a consistent run game.
Well, that's the thing. When you look at it and you look at, okay, in the playoffs, what do you need to do? Maintain time of possession. The Steelers, if they go 3 and out, the Browns are holding the ball for anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes, and they're just eating up time.
Yep.
So I think that is going to be the Browns' strategy. They know they don't even have – this is the thing. Everybody knows the Steelers are not going to run it, so you don't really have to respect the run. So if you can get them in these 3 and outs, if you can get them in these short down situations, I think that the Browns, even coachless, even without certain players, I still like the Browns. I'm probably going to end up picking the Steelers. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to pick the Browns today.
All right, fine. Finally, before we let you go, Josh Allen and the Colts are going to be the first game of the Wild Card weekend right after the show today. The key to me with the Colts and the Bills is to try and just keep Josh Allen on the sideline, but are you giving the Colts any chance in this game?
I actually am giving the Colts some chance in this game. Number one, I think they have a very underrated offensive line, and I think Phillip Rivers, we know he's a sitting duck back there. So you have to give credit to that line because they've been able to protect Phillip, no running Rivers all year long. I saw this meme. It was like, we freeze lakes and rivers in Buffalo. So they're already getting started out in Buffalo. And I think the thing with the Colts that I do like, I think the two keys are going to be Darius Leonard. He's having a phenomenal season. And I think DeForest Buckner. I mean, you get him from the 49ers. He has 9.5 sacks on the season. I think he could really be a problem for Josh Allen. And if you look at Josh Allen prior to his kind of MVP-ishness that he's been doing out here, he was kind of wild. You know, when you look at some early Josh Allen games, he kind of made some throws and he kind of pressed and he forced things. So I think that the Colts, if they can get him in some uncomfortable situations and make him kind of go off script, I think that you could maybe get that reemergence a little bit. Not saying it'll happen. I think that's your best bet if you're the Colts.
Yeah, the pregame show just showed DeForest Buckner 7 sacks in the last 5 games. So, yeah, he could be a big factor in this game. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashley. Follow Ashley Ross33 on Twitter and on Instagram, Ashley Ross3, and check out her show, the Ashley Ross Show. Really appreciate you coming on with us, Ash. You're the best.
I appreciate you, Joy. Go Browns!
No.